Back to the phone lines. We'll talk to Jeffrey, listening in San Francisco, California on KDIA. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Hank. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Great to have a chance to speak with you. Hank, my question is concerning human free will and creation. And that has to do with looking back at human history. We can see there's been so many tragedies throughout people's lives that have suffered so greatly, so much so that they were willing to take their lives, and it just seems like a waste of humanity. And I've always questioned God being, a just, fair God, which I think he is, but at times it doesn't seem like he is. So my question was, why wouldn't God in his omniscience create us in some sort of temporal pre-existence where we can look into the future and see how our lives would unfold? Based on that, we can decide whether or not we want to be a part of his creation. I don't see any other way that it could be fair for us to become human without our free will being involved.
Yeah, of course, you're asking a hypothetical question here that's logically impossible for me or anybody else to answer, because in order to be shown our future so as to decide whether or not we want to exist in that future or not exist in that future, we must already exist. And so I can't give you an answer to your question specifically as you asked it, but I can give a general response to the question, which is to say that God creates every one of us for fellowship with him, for life in the Trinity. And all of us are enabled to experience that. So wherever we are, we have the opportunity. The Apostle Paul said, from one man, God made every nation of men, that they should inhabit the entire earth. He determined the exact times and places that they should live, and he did that so that people might reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. And the reason Paul can say that with emphasis is because everywhere, no matter where you have the light of creation, you can look up at a night sky and you can see that there is a creator, but even more, I think, from the standpoint of experiential knowledge, we have in our DNA a knowledge of God imprinted upon the canvas of our consciousness. I like to say actually carved out in the canvas of our consciousness. So we have ample light, and the question now becomes, will we respond to that light? And if we do, despite all the difficulties that you enunciated in the prologue of the question, despite all of that, life can be extraordinarily meaningful in the present, but, and the big but is this, that there's a time when God himself will live with us, and in that time there'll be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain, for the old order of things will have passed away. And then we experience an existence that is so marvelous that the Bible can say that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it entered into the mind of a human being what God has prepared for those who love him. I would add one other thing, and that is what Pascal said, and I've quoted often, which is that God dwells in enough light so that if we want to find him, he dwells in enough obscurity so that if we don't want to find him, we won't. And so the beauty there, even in the ashes, is that if you don't want a relationship with the Lord gives you that prerogative as well, not only in this life, but for all eternity.
Yeah, no, I understand. It is a difficult question. I don't expect, have my question satisfactorily answered. It's tough, but it's just, I guess, the present time we're in. We don't have all the answers, but what we do know is that there's a lot of suffering in the world, and that shouldn't be. And causes some people to make that decision to take their life, and it's pretty tragic.
It is tragic, but we have the option of doing something about it. We have the option every day of random acts of kindness. Every day we have the opportunity to make someone else's life better. So just as we want God to make our lives better, God uses us as the agent by which we give that cup of cold water or that piece of bread. And Jesus said, if you do it to one of the least of these, you do it unto me. So we have an option every single day to make the world better. And oftentimes we want God to do it without agency, but God has chosen us as the means by which things can either get better or get worse.